Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Longley's Line Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Longley. Remember to like, follow, subscribe on all of the social medias. Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for the show, Lightstyle Studio for the studio here. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know anybody that'd like to come on the show, you yourself are a part of the entertainment industry, send us an email at longleysline@gmail.com. And as you guys know, we bring on guests from all over the entertainment industry, and today is no different. Today I have the Will Shamberger Band.
How's it going?
Woo,
Thanks for having us.
So we've got Will, Charlie, Stone.
Good job.
Got it right this time. Thank you guys for coming in. Before we get rock and rolling into anything, go ahead and promote socials, where you want people to find you, websites, anything like that.
Perfect. You can find us at thewillshambergerband.com. We don't update that as much as we should.
But it's got our socials.
But it's got our socials. But and then also Instagram, the Will Shamberger Band. You can find Will Shamberger as well.
YouTube,
Will Shamberger Band,
Spotify, Apple Music, for all the music. Yeah, totally.
All the stuff, all the streaming services, and yeah.
Do we have a Facebook?
I have an OnlyFans.
Yes,
it's Big Chief Brown Bottom. It's very cheap. Check it out.
Mike Honcho.
I was gonna go with Dick Shadow, but it was taken.
Sorry about that. I should have told you before.
But yeah, that's where you can find us online, and can find us in the wild too.
Perfect. Right out there in the wild.
Yeah.
We're out there on the streets, on every corner. You can find one of us. We're out there.
One of us, you'll see us. Signs or not.
Yeah.
Who knows? So we were kind of talking before the cameras started here. Where are you guys from originally?
As a band, we're from Fallon, Nevada. I'm from Fallon. Charlie's from Fallon. Stone's from Fernley. Originally, and then grew up in North Dakota, which I'm sure he'll talk about at some point a little bit more expounding.
We'll go into
He's more worldly than we are. He knows about those places.
He's been north.
Been in the north, yeah.
More north, but
I like worldly North Dakota.
Yeah, no kidding.
we're from Fallon, and we still are based in Fallon.
And our bass player Jesse's from Fallon
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Who is not here with us
Yeah.
today?
But he's here in spirit.
Yes,
Always. He
Abs-
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
And so, how did you guys form? How did you guys get started? Have you known each other for a long time, or was it just kind
So
of...
Will's getting good at this story now.
me and Charlie have known each other for a really long time. I just
Will's mom is a teacher, and she was one
yeah.
of my teachers when I was in like middle school. She was an art teacher.
Yeah, and I guess realistically, that's where we kind of connected originally. And Charlie used to draw AC/DC album covers,
Nice.
and I remember being like, "Mom, get him to draw me one," and I still have it. I found it not long ago in my dad's house, but so that's kind of, I mean, it's a small town, so there's like one high school, one junior high, all that stuff. So we're all, everybody in town that's our age, we pretty much know.
Yeah.
But so Charlie was in a band, I was in a band, and Charlie was like a senior when I was a freshman. And Charlie was like a metalhead, and I was like more like an indie rocker. So there was like a little bit of beef when we first met each other, or as like peers, and as not like, because originally it was like, oh, like have this older kid draw me a picture, and then like now we're peers 10 years later. But then so we kind of, there's some beef, we played some Battle of the Bands and stuff, and there was things that
He always won, by the way. His group's always won. It wasn't mine that won, it was his.
But there's we never like, it wasn't like we were like, I don't like you, but it was definitely like,
I never hit him in the nips, not once.
Yeah.
Not once.
yeah.
But the town's only big enough for so many high school bands. You know what I mean? Like,
And then so after high school, I kind of stopped playing music for a while and was, trying to be an adult and get jobs and live
As it always
sanely.
happens.
Yeah. And then I ended up working on some music again, just starting it up. And then me and Charlie reconnected through a mutual friend. And Charlie was like, I really like this stuff. And even then, it was like probably another 6 months before it was like, no, we should play together. Like there was
I had to convince him forever. Like even back in the day, before we kind of went our separate ways and we're doing other things, I was like, dude, we should get together. We should make some music. It'll be sweet. And we meant to, but it was like, all right, well, I'll see you the next time and we'll talk about it more. And then we didn't see each other for like 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always was like, Will, we should play some music. But Will's music was different than mine at the time, and I think both of us in our heads, even me asking to play, he was kind of like, yeah, but like, how's that going to work? And I was like, I don't know, but we're going to find out. You know what I mean?
Because it was still kind of the metal versus indie rock.
a bit.
Yeah.
And they're both guitar players. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to walk that fine line.
Yeah.
So then how did the reconnection happen?
Through a weed dealer in the times before weed was legal.
Before it was legal.
Back in the day.
Yeah, the dark ages.
Where you had to go up to a random car and hope that this was the person.
Yeah.
you were
pretend to be
looking for.
friends with someone for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, we were pretty lucky because our particular guy, he was like the guy who was around town.
It's
And
small
so he was there for, I
So
mean,
it probably
God
was way
rest his
different in
soul. He's
Fallon,
not with us anymore, but when he was, he kind of was the guy, you know?
Yeah.
And so he was around for a few years in succession, so that way everybody who was going there or would buy from him or whatever, we'd all see him. We'd see each other,
Yeah.
everybody, you know.
Yeah.
It's a ragtag group of pot smokers out there in Fallon.
It definitely was different days than it is
Yeah.
now, for sure.
Very, very much different. Where you
Um,
couldn't 100% tell if everything you had was good.
Yeah.
And then you kind of opened it up and go, this is all seeds and stems.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
paid $50 for this.
And it's actually funny because I remember I brought a CD over to his house, this person, and he put it in his computer. It's CDs, computers, man, air is gone.
The big monitor. Or
yeah.
the big desktop that was there. Yeah.
But he had a program, and this is super funny because Charlie came over, but he had a program where it was like a screensaver, and there was different strippers would come out and like dance and get naked on the screensaver. So it's just your desktop with
It was like one of the
girl.
naked pens, but in the future, like that.
But you press the space bar and then it happens.
But so he was jamming my music to the strippers, and Charlie came in, and Charlie was like, "This is some good shit, dude." And it was, that was a good time.
Which is kind of funny
That was so
because the
funny.
music that we make now, obviously, we're kind of an amalgamation of every
bunch of
piece of
things
the
now,
player
yeah.
and all the different places that we come from. But like the stuff that Will used to make, I mean, I love everything that Will makes, but back in the day, some of the stuff that he would make, he really had inspiration from like some of the guys from the 60s and like these really psychedelic bands, and he did it well. He did it way better than anybody else I had heard do it, and I liked that music. I searched around for that music. So when I heard that, I was like, what the hell is that? And he was like, oh, that's Will. And I was like, fucking Will, dude, that's good shit.
Yeah.
Actually knew who it was.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
No,
Yeah.
it was rad. It was good shit, man.
So then the connection kind of came, and when you guys got started, was it, after figuring out, well, okay, I guess we'll start making music now. It's like, okay, let's start making music. Did that kind of
It kind
still
of
had more pieces to put together?
a little bit. It kind of started as like I had put out an album, and I was like wanted to put together a band to promote it, the solo album I had put out, and it just so happened that some gigs had come into my realm, but I was not prepared to have like a full band yet. But knowing Charlie and his skills, I was just like, Charlie, will you come play some guitar for me for like these few shows? And we did like acoustic shows, and Charlie played electric, and yeah, I mean, and it just kind of started there, and then it was like, all right, now we need to figure out a band. We need to get a bass player and a drummer and all that stuff, and that took like about another year or two of filtering through people that, great friends, but they just weren't ready to ride as hard as we were, I guess.
Not commit to it.
Yeah, commit as hard, and yeah, we had some funny times. We had one guy who just couldn't make it because of commitments and family and all that stuff. And then we had our buddy Hank, who we've played a bunch of shows with. we actually went to Sacramento with him way back in the day.
There was a time where I was the bass player in Will Shamberger's band, and that was like 2013,
that was
12.
like before I stopped making music for a while.
Yeah.
So Hank ended up just being a flake because he can do that sometimes. It's all good.
You can, you know it's coming.
Yeah, I don't feel bad saying this because I've known him my whole life. And
Listen,
he knows,
we love
like,
Henry, but Henry's on his
Henry.
chicken game. He's trying to make fried chicken for people. He's trying to give them some spicy sweetness, and I appreciate him, and God bless, and I wish him all the best. But right now, we're just not in the chicken realm of what's going on.
Not yet.
Not yet. There may
Hopefully
be a
we can
time,
get
but
there, dude.
it's,
We can
it's
get the
not.
grease, man.
It's not today. You know
Will
what I mean?
Shamberger chicken joint coming out.
Yeah, dude, Papa Will's.
Henry would dig that, dude.
Dude, Henry would be the guy there. Dude.
Yeah.
He would be like, "What's up, dude? Who's your master chef, dude?"
You want 13 herbs and spices? I got 15. Let's go. Come on.
But yeah, and so we ended up filtering through some people, and then our bass player, who's not here, Jesse, actually, ironically enough, he's a little bit older than both me and Charlie. But when I was a kid, he was in a local band in Fallon that was pretty big. Called,
He's older than us, but he looks younger than all of
Yeah,
us.
he
Yes.
does.
Yeah,
He gets carded the most.
It's a
out of all of us.
travesty.
Yes.
he's a sweet boy.
But he was in a band called
Flimsy
Shiloh.
Fools.
Yeah, the Flimsy Fools. And ironically enough, the other guy in that band has done tattoos on me. But,
And me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
him. But
The one that I have.
yeah.
The one tattoo.
But so I was always super into him, and there was like a little open mic scene in Fallon at the time that the Telegraph used to help put on, and so I connected with him through that. And one day I was just like, "Hey, dude, like you should play some bass," and he was like, "Let's do it." And then through the Telegraph, because I actually work at the Telegraph, which is a coffee shop down in Fallon, I met this guy Stone because he's a coffee maven.
Maybe.
He is. He taught me everything I know about all that stuff.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, me and Will worked at Telegraph for a long
Throft
time
milk.
together. That's where we met and stuff. Yeah, when I moved to Fallon.
Yeah.
Getting into the coffee game.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like what I did for work in college in like North Dakota. So when I moved to Fallon, I was like, I need a job like ASAP. I'm just going to go check out this coffee shop. And then I started there. And then that was in 2019, like 3 weeks before all of the alien stock stuff, like the Raid Area 51 stuff in 2019.
Yeah.
And
Which was a huge disappointment. But yeah.
Yes. but
We played there.
Yeah.
We were the opening band on that.
We
Actually,
sound checked.
Jesse and his family helped build the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
So for the people that
yeah.
were there, it was pretty
It's a
cool.
big thing.
Yeah.
it was a thing.
We one of our drummers flaked out on us, and literally I had met Stone, and he told me that his dad had a studio and drummed, and I was like, that means he drums. Like in my brain, I was like, that means he fucking drums. He
dad
wouldn't
did it,
tell me
let's do
that.
it. Come on.
And so like it was like the day before we went to Alien Stock. I was like, Stone, when we get back, will you be our drummer? And he was
kinda-
like,
yeah,
I
pretty much,
think,
like-
yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I had never played in bands or anything before. Like I had been like
But did you actually drum?
yes,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
totally. Like I played in like
Yeah.
school band and stuff like that, but I had never played in like a 4-piece, like a rock band or
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, I was definitely kind of like, oh, I just met this sick dude at a coffee shop and he asked me to be in his band. Like I just fucking moved here. This is sick, guys. So,
Like it's really
Yeah.
working out.
Not only that, but at
totally.
the time, Stone, as he looks now, is not the way that he looked then. He had long,
Luscious
flowing
hair.
hair.
oh yeah,
It was
mhm.
absolutely
And no
crazy
facial hair.
sauce.
Yeah.
No
Yep.
facial hair,
Mhm.
long flowing locks, ready to headbang
Exactly.
as much as you could.
Yes.
Will called me and he was like, "Hey, so I got a drummer who's going to play with us." And I was like, "Sweet." And he's like, "He's this dude I work with at the Telegraph." He's like, "You might have seen him." And he kind of described him. And I was like, "I don't know who he is." And then he was like, "No, dude, but he's got a studio and he drums and like he's ready to go." And I was like, "All right, sweet." And then we went over there and I was like, "Oh yeah, Stone's a good boy."
I recognize this guy.
Yeah, and that was in 2019, and we haven't changed the lineup since.
Nope.
Yeah.
So that's when you found the structure of the band.
Totally.
over there. So
Yes.
2019, that's what kind of got the ball rolling,
Mhm.
more or less.
And if I can, just to add on the
Totally.
alien stock thing, since we were kind of talking about
Oh,
that,
yeah.
when the Raid Area 51 thing happened, Will's significant other, her father was in a band. He was the drummer for a band called Wiley Savage. And Wiley Savage was kind of like a local LA kind of band going around doing tours, small things like that. And they had been down to Rachel, Nevada, and they had talked with the gal who owns the Little Alien Inn down there, Connie West. And before all of that stuff had kind of happened, they were like, well, like, we're a band. We just want to come down here and play. So they got booked to play, and then all of that internet viral stuff happened, but they were like in the slot. So like that's kind of how we were able to go out there and do all of that stuff.
Well, and then also there was, I mean, it's all in the news, and there's supposed to be a documentary made out about it, but the guy who started the Facebook page, like, got sponsors and all this stuff together, and then he ended up pulling out. And so there was no sponsor money and all this stuff. So there was like, it ended up being Wiley Savage, the band that booked initially, had to like book all the bands.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was crazy. And there was like,
And literally,
and I mean,
like,
technically have the hand in building the stage and figuring out
Jesse
everything.
literally was out there with like his tools, like building.
Yeah.
it was very
Which is funny
grassroots.
because Jesse didn't play bass with us.
Oh, he
When we
didn't?
played Alien Stock, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. I
Well,
thought he
the
did.
first night, who played bass with us? There was an older gentleman with long
Jesse
gray
played
hair.
bass, but we did do a jam with that. There was a dude that lives in Rachel that has like all kinds of crazy basses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we jammed with
That's
him
right.
for a minute.
You remember
Forgot
the
about
crazy
that.
bass dude from
I
Rachel?
forget his name.
I do, dude. I do remember him. He
Jesse
was
would
a
remember his name.
character, man.
It was the crazy bass dude with the baby-faced long-haired guy, and then,
Yeah.
you know, we got everybody coming.
We established at the beginning of the podcast that we're all terrible at names. So.
But yeah, that was a cool experience going out there and doing all that stuff. I mean, it wasn't very fruitful. We all kind of thought we were going to be like on
This was
TV
gonna
and
be the
shit.
big
Yeah.
break.
Well, and kind of technically we were.
I mean,
kind of. Well,
So briefly.
well, I mean, like very
New York
briefly.
Times.
Well,
printed my name.
New York Times, all of that, like there were a bunch, like CNN, a bunch of those outfits,
Alternative
and there
press
was
was out
also
there.
people like on my Instagram, because of me being a guitar player, some of the people I follow, like, and even some of the people who don't follow me, like Al Di Meola, and like some of these people were watching my stories because I was at
Oh yeah.
the event, you know, and the people who aren't there, they just kind of
What
want
the
to see
hell's
what's going
happening?
on, you know.
Yeah,
yeah.
because from the outside looking in, I only kept updates on.
Well, and the
Facebook.
thing about it when we first went, you know, I was talking with Will about it, and I was just like, well, it could be the coolest thing we've ever done,
Oh yeah.
or it could not be that.
Yeah,
But
It could be
you
a Fire
can't
Island
find out
kind of-
what it
Yeah.
is till you go do it. You know what I mean? And I don't think there was any world that we weren't going to do it. I think
No,
we were
I
always
mean,
going
it's-
to do it. So
I
It
mean,
was
you
too
get
close.
signed up to be a part of, what was it, Alien Stock?
Yeah.
right.
Like, you know, I
Well, and
mean,
it's one of
you
those
kinda- why
things where
not?
it's like
Yeah.
you're imagining in your head, you're like, oh God, I hope there's fucking 50,000 people out there.
right.
And I hope everybody's all fuckered up. And I hope they're right in the groove and they're ready to go and we jam hard and we're legendary. That's not what happened. But in the heart of the musician, that's what you hope.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't amount to that, you know, even though it wasn't that, we had a really good time, and the connections of the people that we know and that we've made through it were really cool. And yeah, it definitely was not anything like what we thought it was going to be, but it's still, I hold good memories from it. One of our friends who's gone now, who used to do merch for us, Craig Sturman, he was our buddy. He was out there building on that stage. I had a couple margaritas with him, just talking the shit. It was a good time. So, you know, it for all of us, it wasn't the big, huge fucking deal that we thought maybe it could have been.
Yeah.
But it was still a deal to us. So,
Yeah, which is still cool. Like
good-
you
good for the
have this
band,
story
like-
that you could have done, and then you know you put it on your resume.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Played
it's a
Alien
part of the
stuff.
rich tapestry.
Yeah.
and then a lot of people that weren't aware of what's going on was like, "What the fuck's Alien Stock?" And then
Definitely.
Yeah.
and then they learn and know. So was this kind of the first established performance of the band?
Well, I wasn't there for the Alien
Yeah,
Stock gig.
he
I
didn't
didn't
join
start
until
playing with
after.
them. Yeah.
But pretty much directly after,
yeah,
right?
well,
So
and-
I guess our first established performance was after.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
realistically, like us as the Will Shamberger band as a band, yeah, that was like the first like actual performance with like a 4-piece. Even though
That's-
Lon
yeah.
played drums.
Before it was where it is now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
kind of where you're getting the foot off the ground, but you're still trying to you know,
Totally. Yeah.
lock in all the definite pieces.
Mhm.
And
Without a
then
doubt.
after that happens, where was that first performance? Now that you've got drummer coming in and everything. Do you
Was it
remember what that
Holland or
first
was
one
it?
was?
I think it was Holland.
It was the Holland Project.
We played our first gig at.
in
That was like
up
where
here
I
in
played my
Reno.
very first gig.
Yeah.
Was at Holland Project.
Yeah, a little.
And
like
how did you
25
feel?
minutes
Like you
set.
said, how you haven't really been in a 4-piece before, and you kind of
Yeah.
just played in high school.
Right.
How was that for you? Like coming in.
I mean, it was scary as fuck playing at the Holland Project for the first time. I had never done anything like that before. Like I had like done school band. I think I played in like church and stuff like that. So like it's not like I had never played in front of a crowd before, but I definitely really wanted to impress people at Holland. It's like intimidating going to Holland Project for the first time too, and seeing all the people there that are like, you're like, oh my god, this is it. Like we're in the scene right
Yeah,
now.
right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So it was like intimidating and stuff, but it was super cool. I love playing at Holland Project now.
And how was
Yeah,
that
it was just like a big
performance
rush.
for like the band? Like kind of now that you have all the pieces put together.
It was. It
I
was
remember it going
a
well.
breath of fresh air.
I think as soon as all four of us got together collectively, like maybe after like 1 or 2 practices,
It
I think we
clicked
were all
fast.
just kind of like, all right, sweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think we had to worry too much about it, what we were seeing or what we were trying to do or anything. I think it was just like, okay, we're good. I think that all the pieces are going to work here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like we were all like prepared and mature enough to know what we needed to do to like be prepared to be in a 4-piece band.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, totally.
And it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
And what kind of, so to kind of bounce back a little, what kind of music do you guys play?
Oh, good.
You know?
I always say like blues based rock and roll or like blues based indie rock, but we kind of go all over the place. There's a little bit of like Americana feel to some of the stuff we do. There's some punk rock elements. I've been thinking about it a lot actually. I think we should just call ourselves power pop because like
Power pop.
it sounds
Okay.
good
Breaking
and it's
news here.
maybe a
Come on.
little bit harder than most pop music.
I
and
tell people guitar rock.
guitar rock,
Yeah.
guitar pop, something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Is it all original pieces or do you do covers thrown in there as well?
Yeah, we do a few covers, and those kind of are all over the place too. We do
Yeah.
the outfield. We've done Dawkins covers. We've done
The thong song.
the thong song.
yeah.
We do the thong song.
Yeah.
We do Queens of the Stone Age cover.
What's the one that you do, Charlie, that we're doing right now? I just had a huge brain fart.
Oh, I think he said
The
we do the outfield
Yeah.
and then
Your Love?
Oh, we do a Judas Priest cover,
Judas Priest.
Beyond the
yeah.
Realms of Death.
Yeah, that's
Because I'm a metal whore and I love that shit. So
Yeah.
I was like, we gotta learn this.
We got to
So-
do that. For the outfield, is it Your Love?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good.
That's a
the
crowd
outfield
pleaser.
cover.
for
sure.
Yeah,
One of my all-time favorites. You just hear
Yeah.
Josie's on a vacation far away and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
that's a
stopping
killer.
what I'm doing now.
That song, out of any song that I've ever played, is the song that people are just like, oh,
Like
yeah,
lose their
dude,
minds over. Yeah,
that's what's
totally.
up. Because it's like, yeah, it brings you either the people who were around when it came out, it brings them to a time, or it's still in popular culture enough that people hear it
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, that's a great
like a
song.
good
It's a
song.
timeless
Yeah, totally.
classic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, no, people love the shit out of that song, and I do too.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
learned it from my folks, and then it's one of the top
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
listen
yeah.
songs
Totally.
on my playlist.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah,
You
super
can't go
good.
wrong.
Yeah.
Classic.
And then, so when it comes to your covers, how you kind of said it goes all over the place. Do you have a specific way that you pick them out, or it's kind of just, you know what, this song sounds good, let's toss this one in here?
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're
just make it
working
your
on
own.
right now. We're working on a cover of "Smooth Operator" by Sade.
Nice.
Yes.
Like it doesn't make any sense, but it's so fun.
It's
Like,
so good, though.
You just toss
Sade's hard.
anything in there,
yeah,
and then
whatever feels good, whatever we feel like we can get down on.
We all come from all different places with music, and we all like different types of music. I don't
Yeah.
think that there's any one music specifically in a genre that you could point out that we'd be like, nah, it's not really our thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's something to take away from everything, even if not all of the pie is good. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so, as a band, I think what's cool about us is we do the covers. And we do those songs, and you can recognize those songs. But when we do those covers, they're definitely done by the Will Shamberger band. They're not we formulate the way that they go as far as where they're still recognizable. They are the song, but it's definitely not what you would hear on the radio from the artist who recorded the song.
Yeah,
you know.
When
Putting
you
a little
hear-
secret sauce on there.
Yeah. You just hear "Let me see that thong, but you know that it's
Right.
like it's got its
yeah.
own different flavor to
Well,
it.
and it's like if
Exactly.
I was to listen to the guitars of the recorded song and be like, okay, we could play that, and it would be sweet, and it would be tight, it would be exactly like on the
Song
record,
has no guitars.
Probably, yeah.
right? Which see, I'm not. When we brought the thong song, I don't listen to the thong song on my own time usually, so I don't even know
No?
what it has. I don't know if it has bass. I don't know if it has drums, but I do know that I've heard the chorus. And when he brought it and we started playing it,
I do know that I have heard the
I
chorus.
have heard the chorus. I know I've heard the whole thing now, but I've heard the chorus primarily before we were playing it. And now that we're playing it, like most of the covers that we do, they're definitely, we just do with them what we please, but we try to do it in good taste. And like the thong song, most of the covers that we do, except for like maybe one of them, what I play on the guitar specifically is just some bullshit that I came up with on the guitar to play specifically for that, not what they have done before. And it really does depend, because there's some like the Judas Priest stuff. I grew
play
up
that
on that
really-
stuff. I
yeah.
play that note for note.
Totally.
But like some of the songs that I was not so familiar with, I just add whatever I think sounds cool, and then we roll with it.
Yeah, you add your own little juice to it.
Yeah, will you try? You know?
Yeah, because especially too, there are those differences when it comes to playing covers where most people are like, well, it has to be exactly like the original.
Right.
But then those other ones where it's two completely different genres, and now you're doing your own cover of it, you can put your own spin to it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh yeah,
Exactly,
definitely.
yeah.
Well, and it's a lot more fun that way.
Yeah.
I've played in cover bands and I've done all that kind of thing, and I love playing any sort of music. I love just playing music, but it does get tedious and old after a while playing other people's music and having to be like, okay, I have to play this exactly the same every way. Myself as a guitar player, I never do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain little things out of the solos that I play that were on the record that I do play because I like the way that they accentuate what I'm doing.
Right.
And they're kind of a thing that when I hear it back and I'm playing it, even if I'm going off the cuff, I kind of go back to those because it keeps me grounded. It keeps me knowing exactly where the melody is, knowing how I want to play it. And it also keys people who've listened to the record and been like, oh, I really like
shit.
that solo,
Yeah.
because I'm not the type of guitar player who plays the solos note for note, and it's by choice. The guys that I really like, Jimi Hendrix, George Lynch, a lot of these guys who they do improvisations as they're going, and you may not hear the solo exactly the same way that you heard it on the record, but man, you get something else. You get something that you only get that one time.
Yeah.
And that to me is special. And if I can do that, that's what I try to do.
Yeah. Give it for those live performances.
Oh,
where
absolutely,
people can
because
hear
it's like
that
it's
little bit.
just for you.
Yeah.
I'm not a jazz player, but it's the jazz mentality of thinking about it. It's like, we'll never play this the same fucking way again.
Right.
Yeah.
The only people who ever experienced it or whoever will experience it is you,
Yeah.
you know?
Because you always have those experiences to go back to. from
And then
when
the
you
other
saw
side
it.
of it, you could say, well, you're a hack and you're sloppy as shit, which fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, and I've had my moments, trust me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
fair. You
But
can call
I
me
do.
a hack
I
if you
like
want.
that because, and thankfully, in the band that I play in, Will gives me enough rope to hang my fucking neck. So I can do whatever I want. And thankfully, most of
And
the
that's
time what I
Charlie's
do is
prerogative
good.
if
You
he
know what I
needs to,
mean?
you know.
I think. But I like to do that because it keeps the creative side of me alive. It keeps
Yeah.
me having fun. It keeps me driven about what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times where I wasn't driven about what I do, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like to be passionate about
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah. Where you don't
That's
want
what
to
it's
just
for.
be
Yeah.
lost in the
Absolutely.
monotony of it, where you
Yeah.
have to constantly play the same thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've done that, and it sucks. I mean, it really does. Even if you're playing really great shit, it's just like, man, I don't want to bend that way. I want to
Yeah.
bend this way. I want to do something a little bit different. But I mean, part of the thing, especially if you're a guy who runs the circuit and you're a hired gun, you got to play what you play for whoever is hiring you.
What they
You know
give
what I
you.
mean? But yeah, no, I mean, this band, I get to do pretty much whatever I want, within the bounds of good taste for the most part, and that
Yeah.
makes me happy. So.
Instead of just, is the solo done?
Oh yeah.
Like, is
Oh,
it
yeah.
over yet?
What are we
But
doing?
I think it's nice too when you find those lines of crossing genre boundaries, which is a good thing because
Yes.
you have the genre of music that you fit into, but Snoop Dogg had a line where he was talking about country music. And he was like, country music and hip hop are not different. And they're like, the hell are you talking? They're two completely different things. No, they're not. They're talking about your lifestyle. And country talks about being on the farm, doing all of this, and they're speaking about what they know. Hip hop talking about what they know from the streets, how they grew up, and crossing those lines. That's kind of the norm nowadays. That's where
human.
you can sit there and
totally.
cross genre boundaries.
It's interesting, and it's realistic. I
Right.
mean, yeah.
Well, and especially,
There's
I
so many
mean,
Cowboys that love
we're a little
that.
bit older than the kids are, I think, but you know, at least when we were growing up and stuff, I mean, I listened to everything. I mean, my parents, you know, my mom was like into country and gospel and things like that, you know what I mean? And then my dad was into heavy metal. And so with all of the different mixes of things that kind of get intertwined, I think now especially you probably have more people today who listen to a wide variety of things as compared to how it was back in the day. Because like my dad and people of his age, they're like, well, I'm a metal guy. That's what that's my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, I mean, he's got Sade and all that shit on his radio in his shop when he's working. You know what I mean? So I think it also changes with your palate as you grow older and stuff. But the mixing of genres, you know, I mean, the only way that we have metal is from blues. You know what I mean? Like all of these things, they're different, but they're the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they can definitely work. Now I've heard times where they don't work, and it's like, that
For
makes
sure.
me sad in the face. But there is many times where I've heard it, and I'm like, that's good. That's good shit. And to experiment and to always do the weird shit, make the weird sounds, even if it doesn't work, you can make it to maybe figure out something for a later date. You know what I mean? And I think really, I mean, we're in the age kind of now, I mean, we have so much digital shit. Everybody's heard everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard every little soundbite of anything that anybody's ever recorded. But who knows? There still might be some sounds out there that nobody's made yet.
There was a
And that's the way you get to them, you know?
That something came up where it was like, you know why when you say, 2019 was 5 years ago. And you're like, it was 5 years ago? There's a thing that came out that said, well, you know how we can go back and listen to a song from the 60s? Back then, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you couldn't just automatically pull up a song that you knew.
Good point.
And they only had
very
old
jaded
school
by
radio.
it these days.
Yeah.
And when you turned on the radio, it could play, here's something from the 50s, 60s. You can kind of go back. But now you can turn on your phone, and all of a sudden you can get Sinatra, or you could get somebody else and kind of intertwine, and then it changes everybody's feels. Like, you know, same thing that you were saying. My dad was hair metal bands all the time. My mom's a tiny Mexican lady who loves funk music. So Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Gap Band, listening to all of those. And then growing up, it was like Linkin Park and the early 2000s, just a mix of everything. And now my kid, who she's 15, she'll turn something on and I'm like, she listening to Linkin Park?
You're right.
No shit. Like,
That's
you
funny.
can
That's
go into
cool.
it and kind of get that feel and help it, you know, play pieces into your music now.
Yeah.
And so as you guys are starting to perform, what has been kind of your favorite performance that you guys have put on? Like, do you have
I really like the shows that we do in Fallon at the Fallon Theater. There's the 100-year-old theater out there that we play all the time. But there's probably some shows we can just think of that are like, were really good shows but I mean, it always changes. And also, I can't think of anything that I mean, it's obviously like the crowd being there and giving energy and all that stuff. But like, I can't think of anything I do very much differently unless, you know, there's nobody there and it just feels flat, you know? What are some shows you guys think?
I know, I'm trying to, like,
good?
because, you know, everybody has favorite shows for different reasons.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, like I think we had the best crowd at, like, our Hardway show when we played at...
Yeah, that was Cypress.
Yeah,
that was super cool.
That was, you know, I always remember that as, like, the crowd
snowboards.
Working with us, like, really, really, really well. Everybody was, like, kind of really in the pocket, like, including the crowd. People were, like, dancing and stuff, and that was sick. And then, you know, but I also, like... One of my favorite shows that we played was one of the first shows we did for like one of our bass players' family members' birthday party. And it was just like really fun because it was like all family and we could kind of screw off and stuff. And then afterwards, I got to watch Charlie eat like 4 pounds of nachos in one sitting.
I ate so many nachos.
Yeah.
It was the time when Taco Bell had their like super XXXL deluxe
Like
steak
nacho
party pack.
Yeah,
it was like 3 pounds
That was rough.
of these
man.
chips and all of this
I had
greasy
to
biz.
watch Charlie eat an entire one of those to
Alex-
himself. And
Alex
then I had
had.
because
I
I
had to. He made
we
me.
were sharing a motel room, so and a bed in the motel room.
Just
so,
let me go to sleep. Not until
No,
those
not
nachos
until you
are
see
done.
me eat the rest of his nachos.
I did. I killed the shit out of those nachos.
That was a rough. I mean, that wasn't rough, but
no,
it was
I mean it
wild.
was rough.
That
It
was-
definitely
It was
was
a rough
rough.
night. You snored all
I
night.
never ever. Yeah, no, I'm the worst. I have the worst sleep apnea. I'll keep everybody in the house awake. If it's 3 floors, everybody's gonna hear me. So I feel bad for these motherfuckers right here.
Sorry, guys, but those nachos were
I
delicious.
do. I definitely do, man.
And then like I always our sound is always the best when we play at Alturas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dennis.
yep.
Yeah,
Dennis
shout out
McDonald,
Dennis. He puts
always
us
doing
up
a
there,
fucking
does
great
good
job
stuff
over
to
there,
us.
man.
Yes.
Excellent place. One of
And
my
yeah.
favorite places. To
I
play
love
for
playing there
sure.
because of the bands that we meet at Alturas and,
Yeah.
and the different fests that we get on at Alturas and stuff like that. Those are always really, really cool. So
Yeah.
it's like a mixed bag. It just kind of depends on,
Yeah,
There's a
why
lot
you're
of
remembering
factors.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
could be
Um,
great for you, and then shitty for somebody
That
else.
too, yeah.
I think
uh-huh.
of a show. We played a show on tour. It was like a Wednesday in Albany, California, which is like near Berkeley,
Mhm.
and it was popping. And we met the Mutilations and the Helltones, and those dudes are fucking sick.
Rad
Those
bands,
guys are all
man,
cool,
rad
yeah.
bands.
Super sick. And like even we went to Nevada City and we played in like a vintage shop, and that was super sick.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to it was like, I mean, it was low key, but we got to connect with the bands and stuff. And
That was just a
Yeah.
weird venue to play.
Tried hitting on this cute gal who was working there. She was having none of it, but God bless her.
You know who you are.
yeah. That was good.
On that note, too, with like kind of meeting these other bands, have you opened for any like kind of big name bands that have stuck out to you?
Sponge.
Oh shit! We
Sponge
did
from the
open for
'90s. We
Sponge.
opened for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They what was their
They have
hit?
2 hits, and the
Wasn't
one
it
is
like
the bigger hit out of them. It's
Cyclone or Twister or Tornado or something like that. Or obviously
I-
something-
I
big
keep thinking of
bands.
Something.
Dramarama song.
yeah,
That's
no,
not the right song.
I don't remember what it was, but it's pretty good.
they had
it's
a
pretty
hit.
good. Yeah, they
Yeah.
they had the one. They had the one,
They had
and
the
the,
one.
the other
That
one.
hit wonder.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
One or
and,
two.
And you
Yeah.
know, I mean, it just is what it is. You got guys going on tour and shit, but you know, they weren't the nicest fucking people in the world. So
Yeah.
I don't have very many nice things to say.
Sure. Still cool to say that you.
Oh no, absolutely,
It-
no.
it's
Hey,
on the resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of dickheads, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
well, and not only that, but again, you know what I mean. You meet these people for the first time when they're in their business and they're trying to get things done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not always is the first impression of those people who those people are.
Yeah, exactly. Like you hear those stories too of like actors or whatever it is where they're like, "Oh, so and so was just a dick when I met him." And it's
Right.
like, yeah, but were you the only person that came up to him?
Right.
Did they have a bad day?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, that's the stigma.
Someone
that they
just
have, right?
yeah. Someone
And then
might have
it's
just
like-
shit in their sneaker.
You might run into them later on, and they're the coolest people you ever met.
Totally.
It's like, remember that one time we opened for you? No.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys want to go get a drink, or what are we doing?
Right.
And then
yeah.
now all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're cool.
Yeah.
And like kind of on that note too, since each of you have a little bit of different music taste personally, is there a certain band that you hope one day you could open for?
Oh, there's
Shit. I
many.
mean,
very many.
there's a lot.
I've always
of-
thought about that.
We have that's another thing too with the whole kind of the genre list thing or the many influences is that I feel like we could open for quite a few different bands.
We could try. Yeah.
I don't feel that there's too many acts that we could open for that we would be out of pocket and it would just be ridiculous
yeah,
that
it
we're
would
playing
be-
for them.
right.
You know
People
what
would
I
be
mean?
like, I guess this fits.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
More some than
yeah.
others, but yeah.
I
we
I
played-
would die if I got to open for King Giz.
Yeah,
and the
King
Wizard
Giz would be
Wizard.
sick.
Turnstile.
I tried to get us on a Fiddlar show.
That would be sick. Yeah.
in Fresno, but that didn't work out. But yeah, Fiddlar would be cool. Pretty much anything that I don't know.
Parcels would be nuts.
I'd really like when they came around. I really like Ghost.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
have
that would've
really
been
liked
cool,
to have
yeah.
opened for
We
Ghost.
tried to learn a
One
Ghost
of these
cover for a
days.
second, too.
Yeah.
That would be super sick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Charlie, sometimes Charlie has weird little like social media connections with guys from like bigger hair metal bands and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
some of them. I've been lucky in my time to meet some of my heroes and know some of these people, and just to know them on a very loose basis, to be able to talk with them and be like, "Hey, what's up?" You know what I mean?
Sure,
But like,
it'd be cool to open for one of them.
You
but,
know what I
yeah.
mean? It's and it's one of those things
Oh
too. Where
shit!
it's,
We tried to open for Zach Wild too. We
Yeah.
almost got on that.
Yeah, we almost got on
Yeah.
that, and maybe we will one of these days. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, I say hi to Zach, and I get to talk to him a little bit.
Yeah.
Blasco, the bass player for Zach Sabbath, and like he's played for
Like
Ozzy and Rob
Society.
Zombie and a bunch of people.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But it's nothing that I could be like, oh, I know these guys. I know I've met these guys, and they are nice dudes. And sometimes I will be like, hey, that's a cool cat picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's about it.
You have a friendly online
But it is
rapport.
nice to know
Yeah.
these guys, you know what I mean? And at least have some sort of interaction. Never when I was a kid would I ever in my dreams think that some of the people that I've been able to meet or know in some sort of personal way that I have been able to know. And that's just the cat's ass. It's the
Yeah.
best that there is. I mean, you know, I'm a music movie guy. I love fucking pop culture, and I love the 80s and all of the different shit that came from like the eras of the building blocks that made some of the great legendary pieces of art that we have, you know, in contemporary time. And no, I'm very blessed, very lucky that I've been able to do some of the things and meet some of the people that I have. And I definitely, every day that I'm alive, try not to take that for granted.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to try too. Like when it comes
yeah.
to the online perspective of everything, sometimes you see something, you're like, you know, maybe this would be a good fit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you reach out to them, like, you know, for me with everything, I love stand-up specials, and they're a big reason, like comics are a big reason why the podcast started, because they
Totally.
bring actors on.
Right.
And I like hearing the background stories of the actors. So
For
if,
sure.
like, this one's from a podcast that I listen to, or if their stand-up special comes on, my wife gives me so much grief because she's like, "Are you taking the picture and putting it on your story?" I'm like, "You're goddamn right."
I must document this for the people.
And then guess what? They repost it on theirs.
Sure,
I'm like, you
yeah.
see, this is why I do it. It brings nothing from it, but it's cool. Because
Yeah.
then you get that little bit of interaction, and then you never know what could happen. So-and-so comes to town, you link up out of nowhere, and then
Oh yeah, you
one of
reposted
one
my
of
shit.
one of
Yeah.
yeah, and then you're
the
like, yeah, you know.
one of the way that
Yeah.
really
Just
foolish
start a
people
conversation,
fucking
yeah.
carry things through is to be like, that could never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. I've seen enough in my life to know that the wildest shit that you never thought of can definitely happen. And you have to keep your eyes open and your heart open to it, because if you don't, well, then you're fucking shut out from it.
Exactly.
I mean, I believe every day that anything can happen to anyone at any time,
Yeah.
you know?
Which is true, as long as you keep that open mind
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Like, so to kind of jump back a little bit with the performance that you guys have done, that it's been covers and then originals, what came from starting the first original songs that you've done? Do you have like a process when it comes to writing it where you have kind of your power pop genre in mind, or does it just come from, well, this is a thought that I had, I'm going to write this down, let's see if it
Right.
goes anywhere? How does the process kind of go for you?
It usually, I wouldn't say I start writing with a genre in mind, but sometimes I'll hear like a certain riff or a certain guitar pattern or something, and I'll kind of want to lead into that or lean into it in a certain way. But I kind of just start throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what feels good, and sometimes it's way different, sometimes it's not, but I just kind of get going, and then I usually show up with a pretty good outline of what the song is going to be: a verse, chorus, bridge. I usually have the bulk of the lyrics and then and chord progressions and whatnot, and then these guys add their special stuff to it. Yeah, I mean,
But
that's
yeah,
pretty much
Will
how I
is
do
like
it.
our primary, pretty much solo
Yeah,
like,
as
songwriter.
far,
yeah.
if we weren't around, Will could still do what Will does.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
There might be 3 other dudes. Yeah. It would not be as great, I don't think. But
And just from like an outsider's perspective, I do think that Will is like influenced by whatever kind of music he's listening to a lot of. Like at the moment, I feel like sometimes you'll be like on a kick of like a certain genre, and then you'll show up to practice one day and have a song where I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because Will's
Right.
been listening to like this band for the
That's-
last like 3
yeah.
months or whatever.
that's fair.
Has it ever been kind of out of the blue where it's like, you know what I've been listening to a lot? Jodeci.
In our group of people, I don't think there's anything that anyone could bring that would
Like
be
the
like, that's
thong
weird.
song.
Why did you
Yeah,
bring
seriously.
that? I think we're all just like, no, for sure.
Yeah,
Like, let's do
yeah.
that.
And I had that my in between time when I wasn't playing music, I was like making beats a lot. So I definitely like when I came back in to the band, there was a lot of hip hop and R&B influence in my writing.
In the beginning, there was,
which
yeah,
has
totally.
sort of fizzled out a little bit after time, but. You know, you get up there, you get a guitar strapped to you, and you want to play fast, dude. You know, you
Yeah,
want to play that
for
punk
sure.
shit sometimes. So yeah, but I mean, yeah. That's
What sort of like theme does it normally go down? Like kind of said whatever you were listening to,
right.
but do you have like a specific kind of theme where it goes, oh, maybe it's lovey-dovey, or maybe it's just kind of whatever comes to mind? Kind of what do you have a specific theme that you kind of
It's kind of
gravitate
whatever
towards?
comes to mind, but I mean, every song definitely has its like its through line, and it's. I mean, I feel like my songs usually have a pretty clear cut path. Not all the time, but most of the time. At least the parts
Like
themselves.
the themes are
The
pretty
themes,
like
yeah,
apparent. I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
a lot of love songs, of course.
A lot of songs about living in the desert.
A lot of songs about
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the
as we do.
desert. Yeah,
It's
True.
kind of like how I said, it just comes based on what you know.
yeah,
Like,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing too that I feel that not. I mean, as far as like in my personal tastes, like indie rock and maybe even metal and harder rock, I don't think has always had the lyrical, I guess, fiber that like hip hop music and folk music has had to me, because they're literally singing what it's like down to the grit,
Yeah.
Same old low sweater, shit like that.
Right.
Like that's definitely something that always attracted me to hip hop and I guess more basic forms of.
And lyric is, or sorry, not lyric. Will is a very Will is a
Shout
very,
out Lyric.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say Will is a very strong lyricist. I mean, he comes to us with songs with like fully written lyrics most of the time. And it's not like it takes him like 3 years to write a song either. I mean, he's coming with us with new stuff like really, really consistently. So obviously, I can tell that you were like influenced by more like lyrical genres of music,
Right.
because like it shows through in like how you write.
Will's
your
very
stuff.
learned from his mom and from some of the older people that he's looked up to, and some of the ways he's grown up in the music that he listened to and pop culture, and knowing what the situation was about current things in that time going on, even though that he's a young man in a completely different time. Like Will's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And I mean, most things that I know about that other people don't know about, Will knows about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally. He's one of those guys. Yeah, totally. Where you're like, I bet Will would know something about that.
And he does. He usually does.
I like that part with like when it comes to the lyrics, it seems like, not to sound like that old man, but it seems like that kind of goes out the window a lot of times nowadays, where it's mainly just focused on the beat.
And the melody, and
But then you go back
hook.
to like the old school days, like Hank Sr.,
Mhm.
where all of it, he was this prolific songwriter who died at 29, and he had just this catalog of music that was all lovey-dovey or something like that, but it all had these groundbreaking lyrics to it, like that nobody's ever heard of before.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I think especially, I'm not a songwriter. That's why Will writes the songs. You know what I mean? I can write some
Seriously.
music and
Yeah,
I can do
it's not
things like
like-
that. If I try to write a song, I feel like a pretentious bastard. I'm like, you
Yeah.
fucking suck. Don't
There's
do this
never
anymore.
been a moment in the band where me, Charlie, or Jesse have been like, man, I fucking wish Will would let us write one. You know what I mean?
No, there's never a time. We've never had that discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but the shit that he writes, but even though I can't write well like that, because objectively to myself, I can't. But when I hear what Will does, and I've always been a fan of what Will does from when I first met him. I mean, he was doing this when he was a kid. He was still very good. His lyrical sense,
Yeah.
his poetry, he was very, very good.
Yeah.
And it's something that I look up to because I know I
Totally.
can't do it. I
Yeah.
try, and I'm like, God, you know what?
It's
Maybe this is the
inspiring, yeah.
one. And I'm like, no, this is ass, man, because I hear something that Will does. But, Will, and I don't know, I can only say it from like an outside perspective, knowing that I don't write well personally myself, is like, the people who I see who write really well, they're very naked about what they do. And I have reserves. I don't like, I mean, I'm very open about
vulnerability.
everything that I am and to anyone, and I'll say
like
whatever,
strawberry,
but like your feelings,
Yeah.
the way that you connect with people, I can't be that naked. I
Yeah.
can't. Will can do that shit. And literally almost effortlessly
and it'll
to
sound
where it's
hard
like,
as fuck too.
damn, dude, like, how do you fucking do that?
Yeah. But it sounds like just the, group that you guys have together. If, say, for some reason you did come up with an idea or a lyric, or you had something that came to
for
mind,
sure.
where it's not like, no, I'm the songwriter.
Oh
Sit
no,
down.
he would be like, sing it for me.
Will
Why don't you play that shit for me,
It's just
boy?
me and you here, bud. Tell me those feelings.
Let's get
I
it.
feel like when Will comes to us with a new song, he is ready for us to like pour our parts in, and
Yeah.
it's not like
He's already worked
Yeah.
on it before.
Yeah.
You can tell that he's already pretty much figured out at least the basic structure of what it will be.
and then we all get to just like add all the fun parts.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I'm
when
the
we're doing it,
sprinkles
like-
on the ice cream. That's what I
Yeah.
do. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
Good
I mean,
stuff.
that makes sense. Well, for the other point, when it comes to the songs let's go back to performances, actually. So do you have any other like behind the scenes performances that have really stuck out to you, where it's like, I asked about your favorite ones, but do you have any stories that come to mind of just being on the road or anything like that?
We played a show one time at the Virginia Street Brew House.
That was the one that I was going to say.
Yeah.
wait,
And,
really?
Yeah.
Me and Charlie got
Okay, yeah.
exponentially drunk.
And
I think
then
we
I
might
was
have
eating
eaten
mushrooms.
mushrooms, yeah.
We were eating some mushrooms.
Yeah. That was rough. We both puked.
a lot.
Yeah.
Much.
Like the next day too.
And also
The next day was
we
awful.
were playing we started and I think we were like 2 songs in and I broke a string and I went off stage, changed the
that's right.
string, and then immediately broke the string. And then like went on stage and was like, Charlie, you have to go change this string for me. I can't do it. And then I had to play Charlie's guitar for like a song and a
Yeah.
half while Charlie was just stringing my guitar. That was rough.
that show was kind of rough.
That was
yeah.
rough, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
But
had a
Virginia
hell of a
City Brew
time.
House
It was
sick, or
good.
Virginia Street Brew House was sick. That venue
Yeah.
was cool
Yeah,
as
it's
hell.
a great
yeah.
venue.
And the actual show itself, the show went really good. Everybody who was there
Sure.
really had a good time, and it was a good played
We have
show.
sick pictures from that show, but there's no one there.
Felt like a lion or a lioness, one of them. But it was good. It was good until the throwing up started, and
Sure,
then
yeah. That's always
and then
when
I
it
was
kinda hinders
still
the party.
pretty good. And then we went to sleep, and we decided to go out on Lake Tahoe the next day. And I went out on a boat, and I ate some more mushrooms, and then I had some more drink, and then I got sick.
then
And
you
then
got
I
sick
was
again,
sick
yeah.
all fucking day long.
I remember
But that's
I ate
my
some, like,
fault.
You know what
vegan
show I think about all the
fries.
time? Do you remember when, I don't even know if this is like a show technically, but do you remember when we got paid to like sit on a golf course and play music for like
Oh
6
yeah,
hours?
that was sweet.
Yeah. We got a big chunk of change for that.
We like they set us up for literally like a whole day. And
Yeah.
they were like, we don't care how much you like repeat your songs or
like-
whatever, like just play music for
And
as
when people
long
are up
as
here,
you can.
make sure you're playing.
Yeah.
Like, type
Right.
thing. And then of course they're playing golf, so they just like
Right. But we were just
Yeah.
like in the middle of like a golf field, like a
Yeah.
golf course, like
on a green,
playing
yeah.
Just
music on
hanging
the
out
green.
playing.
Yeah.
And it was
totally.
good weather, man.
And
It
like
was
drinking,
cool.
and it was nice outside, and like we played all of our songs like 4 times.
Yeah, we did, dude.
And then was that the point where you're just like, let's try something else?
Yeah.
It's like, hey
We
guys,
probably did try a couple of just like jams to
Oh,
do
for
something
sure.
different. Yeah,
Yeah, we
because
definitely did.
It was all.
We
day,
definitely
yeah.
started early in like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that in the morning. So about noon, 1 o'clock, that's about where my memory fades. But it was, we were there. We were
I mean,
there.
nice
We had a
weather
good
day
time.
drinking on a golf course. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
And then
That
so
was good stuff.
that sounds awesome.
It was like there
Like
was
just the golf cart
Yeah.
girls coming up to you and
maybe
handing you
not the
drinks
best
and stuff.
publicity, but that was like fun as hell. Like,
Yeah,
I
we
think
had a
about
good
that
time,
all the time.
for
Yeah.
sure.
When it comes to like going out and performing, where's been the farthest that you guys have traveled to?
Probably Vegas as far as
Yeah.
like mileage.
Is that,
Probably
is that the
Vegas.
farthest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we played in Oregon?
No, we haven't played in
No,
Oregon.
okay.
Not yet.
That's going to be next
We
tour.
will.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah.
So you've got a next tour kind of planned?
Yeah, we have the dates lined up, and we have or the dates we're going, and then we have like 2 or 3 actually like solid dates in LA.
We're going to Pasadena, so I'm going to the Myers house, and I'm
Pasadena.
going to Freddy Krueger's house, dude. It's gonna be sick, man.
It will be sick. That'll be a fun little time.
Aside from visiting some attractions, what are you guys most excited about for this upcoming tour?
Hopefully the shows seem to be really good. The LA shows are going to be really cool. Hopefully the shows will be good. Make some new friends.
I just want to play with like different scenes,
In and
play
Out
different
Burger.
towns. Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll be
Actually,
cool to show people music that they haven't heard before.
Mhm.
You know,
yeah.
Last summer we did like a tour, but I had just gotten a new job, so I wasn't able to go with.
So
So we had like a
we had a
fill-in stand-in drummer. So like I'm just excited to go on this one too.
Yeah, it'll be sick.
Yeah.
Cover a little more ground.
Totally.
Last year we just kind of went to the Bay and around and then back. We're definitely going to go down and up the coast and hopefully hit Portland is the goal.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be cool.
that sounds like a lot. Do you have new music that you're working on as well too? For
Yes.
that tour?
We have some songs we're working on. We're supposed to record later in the year.
September.
We have some stuff in the can that I've been trying to mix for like a year. Who knows if that'll ever come out? We might just re-record that. But
if we do, it's gonna be hard.
yeah, I mean, all of it's going to be hard. It's going to be really good. I can't wait to have some of that stuff figured out. But I've been writing a lot, and we've been putting stuff together actually.
And I think
Yeah.
definitely, just out of just my own opinion, the new stuff that we're writing is superior to the old stuff.
It always feels that way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
totally.
it is cool because we're better musicians now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that as Will keeps writing his songs, he gets better at writing his songs.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So no, they're really
Yeah.
cool, and there's some that people haven't heard yet at all.
Yeah.
That Will's been working on. So
Mhm.
Right.
And I think moving forward, it'll be really cool to kind of like rein things in a little, like not rein them in as stylistically, but kind of like, what am I trying to say? Like via per project, kind of rein things in to more stylized per project.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Do like shorter albums, but that are thematically tied together
Yes,
a little bit more. Yeah.
have different soundscapes.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
that's not what you heard from what we did previously, because arguably the two albums that we've done now, the EP and the album,
Mhm.
they are very different, but they are still akin. You
Well,
can
and
tell
I-
that it's
yeah.
the
Yeah.
same band who did them.
Yeah.
But I
they're,
think
like,
in the
unfocused.
future, some of these things that we're going to try to do, I think, are more thematically based
Yeah.
Yeah.
to where they stand on their own as their own, and they're not so mixed in with the rest of the catalog.
Because
that
some of the
Well, and it's also kind of like I feel fully capable in us like writing 10 songs. That's just a bag of good songs and then
Right.
you put it out like an album. But I want to like do more thematic
some
things,
of the-
some
yeah.
concept stuff.
some of the only like
Yeah.
critical feedback that we have gotten before is that we are like too multi-genre.
right.
Yeah.
to like for people to really like dig into our music and stuff like that, because they'll listen to one song and like it,
And
but then
like
not
one
find
song,
any
yeah.
other songs that they are into.
Which has its own
Yeah.
strength in a weird way.
Right, totally. That's I like a lot of bands like that, but I understand why some people don't like that, because
Yeah.
they want to be able to sit down and listen to a whole album and have them all be in the same like
Area.
Yeah, totally.
Totally.
Yeah.
So like I think that's like our next like challenge, I guess, is for us to really like focus in and be like, okay, this album
This song
is gonna
goes with
sound
this
this
song.
way.
This song
yeah,
doesn't.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Where everyone likes the single on the album, but the rest of the album, they're kind of.
They're
Right.
like, what?
Or, yeah,
Where
they're
are we
like,
going with this?
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and we always have to
Totally.
remember too, because I find myself doing this, is that sometimes some of the things that you've listened to that you're like, you go back and you listen to them a couple years later, and you go, that was some pretty good
Oh,
fucking
crap.
shit. I
Yeah.
didn't, I wasn't open to it. Now I'm open to it. So
Didn't
that,
appreciate it.
there's some of
Yeah.
that I think that will happen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys
Well,
have the right fine tuning.
Yeah.
Ready to
totally.
go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on the last little bit here, it's going to be the most kind of generic question that I have, where we already kind of talked about the album, the tour, everything here. The more just generic question is, well, what's next? What do you guys have that you're most excited for? You know, just whatever comes to mind with that question.
Bunch of shows, recording, living, having good times, traveling with my boys.
Yeah. I
Um,
want to tour in the Midwest
yeah,
at
that
some
would
point.
be,
That would
yeah.
be really,
Go
really
back
cool.
home to North Dakota.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, I have a bunch of family out in Kansas. Like, there's people that have actually been like, "Oh, well, come out." And
I
then
think
also,
people would
we have
really dig
family
us in the
Texas,
Midwest too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like Austin area would love us
Yeah.
too, I think.
Go from a West Coast tour to
sort of like
National.
Center America
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Nash, I
Yeah,
guess.
that would be
Yeah,
amazing,
totally.
yeah.
That would be incredible, obviously. But
There's something else I was gonna say. I lost it.
I just want to like record more,
Yeah.
like smaller EPs and stuff like that, instead of like waiting
To
a really
yeah,
long time to do like
to
a full length
put out
album.
music,
Mhm.
yeah, streamline that. That's
Yeah.
a main goal. Just figure out. It'd be nice to have our own studio that we can just have everything there and track it,
plug and
send it
play,
to
get it
somebody.
done.
Which we're kind of, I mean, like we have a lot of this stuff to
We're
do.
working to get there, yeah.
mhm,
Yeah, get the studio and everything
Yes.
ready to go for it.
totally.
Well, guys, I want to say thank you for coming
Absolutely.
in,
Thank
telling
you
your
so much.
stories
Thank
with
you.
everything.
Thank you for having us.
Before we get you guys out of here, go ahead and promote socials one more time where people can find the albums, where they can get more information on the tour, anything like that.
Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, all that good stuff.
YouTube.
Delete your Spotify, get Apple Music because Spotify's trying to steal from us. Anyway,
Or YouTube Premium. YouTube
Yeah.
Premium's
yeah,
hard.
YouTube
super
Premium.
good. Honestly, probably better bet there. But Will Shamberger Band on all social medias, YouTube. April 14th, we're going to be playing the Low Bar. I don't know if this is going to come out before that.
It will.
Cool.
We'll have it promoted
And
for you.
yeah, that's
And yeah,
pretty
and
much
we'll
it,
have
whatever
stuff
you
out
guys
about the
think.
tour.
yeah. We've got new
like
shirts coming.
we got new merch coming.
Hell
We've got
yeah.
a
Pre-orders coming
music
soon.
video on YouTube. Check that
Mhm.
out.
No better.
Yep, we got a documentary about Charlie called "Fastest Hands in the West." Check that
That
out.
sweet stone boy here made.
And
That's a good one.
come to Fallon and show us some love if you
Yeah,
ever roll
yeah.
through. You know
Come
what I
say
mean?
what's up.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Come to the Telegraph.
right.
Also, if you watch the video that Stone made about me, disregard the weird neck beard. It does exist. It doesn't anymore, but it did. It did. And remember, Big Chief Brown Bottom, OnlyFans.
Oh yeah.
Not my concho. All right, well, thank you guys. And we
Thank
know
you so
everything
much.
that we've got here. For all of their information, go ahead and look at the links in the bio. Give them a follow, buy some merch, follow the tour, listen to all their music. For us here, it's Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for the show, Lightstyle Studio for the studio here. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to say hello, want to give a little bit of more information that maybe you didn't hear before, send us an email at longleysline@gmail.com. We'll talk to you guys next week. Woo! Cool.